Hi folks, Joseph Kursky here, your instructor in our Mapping Our World course. We're getting toward the finish line here in the course, and I hope you're having fun and learning a lot and exploring new realms and new possibilities that you'll be able to use in this course and also in the future. This week, we're going to dig into some things to get you thinking about the future. My 5 forces that I believe are important as we go forward in geotechnologies and mapping. Now, you may not agree with these lists of 5 that I've got, which is fine. It's just like anything you see on the web. The 5 coolest places to visit in Minnesota before you die. The 5 coolest bands of all time. Geo Awareness. More and more people are aware of the things that you and I care about as geo folks. Energy, climate, migration, social inequity, ocean acidification, land use change, all those sorts of geo-related issues that have something to do with space and time. People are aware of those things and they care about them in general, the general public, as never before. So the level of geo-awareness is at an all-time high, I believe. Geo-enablement is another one of the proposed 5 forces for you to think about. People are enabled to use some of the same tools that you and I have been using in this course. Even if it's just to find your way across campus using your web mapping application, or to find your grandmother's house, or find the nearest coffee shop or the public library, etc. And they're using satellite imagery, even if it's just to look at, hey, this is the place I grew up, etc. So they're using some of these geotechnology tools, GPS, web mapping, GIS. Also, geotechnologies themselves having uploaded and enabled into the cloud is a huge leap forward. And it's definitely something we took advantage of in this course. These web-based tools, these open data sets, and so on, okay? But data as services. Citizen science, crowdsourcing, volunteer geographic information. That's another key force, and we've touched on it several times in this course. And finally, storytelling with maps. Storytelling in general has received increasing attention in science and research and literature and all sorts of different subjects. How you communicate the results of your research, something you're passionate about. But storytelling with maps has received a huge boost through this web-based software as a service geographic information systems technology that you and I are engaged in this course. Also, I want you to dig into some 5 trends that I believe are important. Again, 5 in my list. You may debate these and say, hey, Joseph, you forgot this one that I believe is important. Great, we can have a discussion about that, and I welcome that. 3D. We live in a 3D world, and it makes sense that we've got 3D tools. We've had 3D visualization for quite a while, but now we've got 3D analytics, which is important because, again, we live in a 3D world. So we want to be able to model things, not necessarily always elevation data that you think about in 3D, but what if you modeled and looked at median age in a community in 3D, where the valleys are younger median age and the mountains are older median age, or median income, or access to fresh food, or health issues, or whatever. You can model other variables in 3D as well. Now, don't just do it because it exists, as I'm always saying in this course. Do it if it adds value. So use 3D Scene Viewer in ArcGIS Online, for example, and use 3D Analytics in ArcGIS Pro and other tools that let you visualize and then understand things in 3D. BIM, Building Information Management, Computer-Aided Drafting and Design, and GIS, the merging of those things. In the past, GIS people, mapping ecoregions, population change, etc., the outside world, were in a different sort of community than the people mapping interior spaces. And that was the realm of the CAD, Computer-Aided Drafting and Design, and Building Information Management community. So mapping interior building spaces, all of the fiber optic cable, all of the water lines, all of the electric lines, for example, on your campus, all of the configuration of each building, et cetera, okay? We're starting to see the merging, at least in part, of those two communities, which makes sense for a lot of reasons, one of which I'll touch on in a minute. But the tools like ArcGIS Indoors, ArcGIS Urban, an urban planning tool, allow us to bring those two communities at least in part together, which makes sense for the following reason. Many other examples exist. Let's say there's some sort of weather event on your university campus at 3 p.m. on a Friday. Well, first of all, where are the students? Where are the faculty? It changes every semester, right? Because of the different configurations of the classrooms every semester. okay, if we had the campus map, so from the GIS community, integrated with the building information management CAD drawings of each individual building, we could then have a resilient campus model where we can say, okay, here are the emergency exits, here are the shelters, here's what we need to do if we had a significant weather event, let's say, at 3 p.m. on a Friday in a spring semester. So those are the kinds of, real world applications for this stuff. This isn't just, pie in the sky stuff. This is real world applications. Thirdly, real-time Internet of Things feeds. You've already dealt with that in this course, but that is a huge benefit to our world. It also touches on some of the privacy issues that we talked about in this course as well. Enterprise GIS. In other words, GIS being valued and supported throughout an organization nowadays, not just, oh, you need some maps, you need the GIS data, go see those people down the hall and to the right. They're a little bit geeky, but they're nice people, go see them. That's the way it was in the past. Nowadays, it's more GIS is being used by lots of people in an organization. You say, what organization, Joseph? Well, a business, a municipal government, a state government, a federal agency, a university, etc. Not everybody is using GIS rigorously and with analytics, but more and more people using at least some aspect of this platform web-based GIS that we're talking about. And finally, artificial intelligence and machine learning. Picture this, folks. Let's say you've got a typical video that's being filmed in your community on a web dash cam. So a city vehicle going through all the streets. Think of all that video being captured. What if, through AI and machine learning algorithms, we could capture and then put into a GIS database every light pole, every tree species and condition, every sign, every condition of the curb or the roadway itself, the types of businesses, etc. What if we could capture all that automatically and then being able to not have to spend weeks, months, years gathering all that data, which was the typical job of most GIS technicians in the not too distant past. They were just gathering data, parcels, light poles, etc. Through artificial intelligence and machine learning, GIS is being rapidly transformed in lots of sectors of society with AI and machine learning, but including GIS. So those are the trends I want you to think about. The skills I want you to think about are as follows. Be curious about the world. That leads to tenacity. Ask questions. Be curious about your surroundings. Why is this situation the way it is in our world or in my community? Can I do anything about it? So, leading to take action. Know your geographic foundations. We talked a little bit about some key foundations: projections, classification, coordinate systems, datums, ellipsoids. Those are actually important. So know those geographic foundations, and being able to work with data and being critical of data is another thread that's run throughout this course. And again, I direct you to my Spatial Reserves data blog for ongoing discussion every week about these key issues about being able to work with data and be critical of data. Know its benefits, know its limitations. Be adaptable. Be willing to go outside your comfort zone, whether that comfort zone is your own region, maybe go international. The experiences that I've had in my career when I've taught in Taiwan, the UAE, Kenya, Germany, Australia, good on you, mate, have been, some of the things that really stand out as really valuable components and lifelong, colleagues and friends. There are people around the world, organizations that need your skills. And so being willing to go outside your own region or internationally, I think would be a good thing to think about. Also, being willing to go outside your own disciplinary comfort zone. So in a conference, for example, go to a track in that conference that's completely outside your own, wheelhouse, something you totally don't know about. So for example, a couple years ago at the Association of American Geographers, I went to a social work track. I don't know much about the methods that social workers use. I learned about those. I learned about the things that they think about, what they're concerned about, their community, and so on. So it was a great, stretch moment for me. I just encourage you to do that. So go outside your disciplinary comfort zone and learn from people in different disciplines. And finally, foster good communication. We spent a lot of time in this course talking about ways to communicate with maps and geotechnologies and geospatial information. Have your elevator speech down. Have your 30-second elevator speech, your 1-minute speech for your board of directors, for your constituents, for your patrons, for your audience, for your CEO, for your city manager. You'll be called on to give that, and you better be able to articulate why your position is important, why your issues that you're studying or doing work in are important, and so on. So those are things to think about. And I'm also in this week going to have you do some hands-on work. You know, I'm really keen on doing hands-on work. I don't want to just learn about this stuff head knowledge. I want you to actually do some things. So you're going to look at like the buildings layer from the Microsoft Buildings project to get into, okay, big data, and some other things that, you know, real-time data feeds. So you're going to do some work in ArcGIS Online, which I hope are going to be interesting, but also reinforcing these 5 forces, 5 skills, and 5 trends that I want you to dig into this week. Ho, 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 ho. We are mapping pros. We are mapping pros. Tables with many rows. We solve the world's problems. We are mapping pros. We'll see you in the course. Thanks.